Hello everyone, welcome to the modded Rimworld Wild West video. As you can see here, everyone is chopping down cactuses and drago trees to find wood in an arid shrubland. Meet Eric, Richmond, Stone, Val, and Sammy. They are all colonists working together to survive in a whole new environment. As you can see here, they are building a small storage room with a small stockpile zone that will be inside the room. Here they are building the walls and chopping down anything that's in the way of the building. They finished building the walls and now they are installing the door for the room. Then they are installing the roof like you would with any house or room. They are now going to haul simple resources into the room once the stockpile zone is placed. Here the stockpile zone is being placed and they will start hauling their resources and survival gear into the room. They'll be hauling things like wood, steel, medicine, and meals. Here I'm laying down a blueprint for a bedroom that they can all sleep in. Here they are all sleeping in their new bedroom and I'm laying down some floor plans because there's no floor. They're surviving their first night as of right now. That means they have survived their first day in this tough and unforgiving environment. Sammy was the first one to wake up, and a lion was killing a cheetah, and now the lion is severely injured. I sent our good shooter Stone out there to hopefully defend against the lion while trying to steal the cheetah. But the lion also downed, so we decided to take 2 meals home. The lion is now dead, and because of Stone, and now we have more food. I decided to build a dumping stockpile zone for chunks of stone and corpses. We don't have any refrigeration, so this will be good for our most recent hunting success. I also built a fuel stove inside growing a rice field, and now I even expanded the storage room, so I guess I'll expand the stockpile zone in the morning. The rice will provide us with food once it's fully grown, so we could harvest it. Everyone is still sleeping, and I'm making more plans for the next day. There would be no room for a table, so I don't even know why I tried. For such a small room, it would be quite difficult to do that. You can't put a bedroom and a kitchen in the same room. I decided to lay down the blueprint for a research bench so we could start researching new technologies. I decided to research pemmican because of the lack of food. I also decided to set up some spike traps and harvest some prickly pears and agave. I put all the spike traps at every enemy cover point that they could use. I decided to look at everyone's incapabilities, and there seemed to be a lot of them. Stone finally started researching, and we ended up finishing that pemmican research. I also installed a horseshoe pin, and I started building a multi-purpose room, sent away some people who wanted to crash because we're not fit for that yet. This multi-purpose room will hopefully serve a good purpose once the time comes. So I was just preparing for whatever would happen next. I also built a butcher's table so we could finally get meat to eat the pemmican, because it's a combination of meat and vegetarian items. I then decided to expand in the growing zone a little bit because I was thinking about some stuff. That growing zone ended up becoming a little bit of a chem-root field because I wanted to have some Chemshine, which is a drink that will really help us in combat. The drink lets us explode if we die, being a last resort chemical. We finally built the multi-purpose room, and we were overall just waiting for something to happen while we grew the chem root. Richmond's green thumb would be perfect for the job of growing the chem root. I decided to make the bills for the butchering table so we could finally have more meat. As we can see here, Ella is finally making some food for the colony, so we don't have to live off of the packaged survival meals and small fruits. We then had a raid that I unfortunately could not get on camera at this time, and we caught two raiders, Duran and Dusareth. Duran was just a normal baseliner, and Dusareth was an impid. They were both not doing too well, so we had to tend to some medical emergencies. We had to tend to them as much as we could, so they would survive. They might be raiders, but I at least want to recruit one of them to do more work. The other raider died in the raid. So at least we did a good job of defending the base with spike traps. And our colonists as well. We also looted some new weapons from them, and while we retained medical emergencies, there was a heat wave and Dusareth caught an infection. The infection would obviously make the prisoner more inefficient once we recruit them, so I decided I had to just recruit Duran for this. So hopefully we could actually recruit Duran soon. I decided to tend the infection a little bit, as we could not cure it unless we removed a limb or he gained immunity, but that would take a really, really long time. And I actually caught some footage of the raid that I'm now showing, and And here is the fights going on. We have the 3 raiders for an early game. That's a raid even bigger than your mother somehow. So obviously, first shots fired to add who seems to be Deucerith. I'll just let you watch the raid unfold. Later that at night, they were all heading to bed, and the camera was finally growing and shined kind of like a lamp because of the bioluminescent camera. We decided to do a little bit more butchering so we could get at least a little bit more food for the pemmican production. I decided to build a little saloon room so the colonists can actually eat with a table for once. Laying down the blueprints for the saloon room wasn't too much of a task, so I'm hoping on enhancing the blueprint in the future. Everyone went to sleep at night with only some minor injuries from the raid. Apparently, Sammy was injured in the fight. Which is pretty bad because Sammy is also our oldest. And anyway, the next morning, a cheetah was hunting Richmond for food. So I decided to bring Eric out there to deal with the threat. While Eric was busy fighting the cheetah, I decided to get at least a little bit more help from Richmond. After our little battle with the hungry hunter, I thought we could build another bed, but apparently there wouldn't be enough room for that, as we already had pretty much a full barracks. I decided to build a nice little saloon door as a welcome spot for the people wanting to enter the saloon. I was still trying to keep it a Wild Westy theme. While we were building it, a new love between Stone and Val emerged. While we also recruited Duran. Duran is a pretty good colonist with only a few inconveniences, like he can't haul or clean. There was also an ambrosia sprout, which is a very, very tasty and addictive fruit. I could actually use that in the future once it's all grown, as it would be pretty good for the colony, dealing with things like mental breaks. I decided to build a double bedroom so I don't have to deal with any mood penalties. Also, a rat went mad and we had to put the rat down. We quickly dealt with the pint-sized rampage. I also built a little worship room for things like celebrations. Hope nothing bad happens in there. Deucerith's infection was worsening, so I decided to build this little worship room. There's a neat little button down there which I will press because I have no need for Deucerith anymore. So we decided to use our chance for a public execution for Deucerith to increase the mood of the colonists. By the way, I do not condone anything to do in the Rimworld in real life. Also, I got some traders, but I want to say again, I do not encourage anyone to do anything that I do in Rimworld. I decided to sell the traders some leathers that I did not need. After all, what were we gonna do with them besides selling them? We don't even have a tailor's bench. I tried some panthera fur and some lion pelts. I looked at some of the other things that they were selling, but none of them really caught my eye much. After all, we need silver anyway. I started trying to acquire more meat after a little bit of an alpha beaver raid. That once again, I don't think I could have caught on camera. I decided to build some passive coolers because it was getting warm, or because we were getting closer to August, or also known as in this game, summer. Then the next day, our rice and camroot was finally starting to get to the harvesting stage. And I'm not growing camroot again ever since I learned about its explosive properties. And I have an entire base made out of wooden planks. So I'm just going to not grow camroot anymore and switch to some safer crop alternatives. We got cambio fuel from all of the camroot, so we're gonna put it in a little zone far away from the colony because I do not want that to explode. I decided to research beer brewing because we were gonna grow some hops in the camroot growing spot. Hops are used to make the beer. I decided to get a better chance at growing some Drago trees because we were already running low on lumber in the arid shrubland, as there was not much wood left. This is me looking for the Drago tree. Really shows what your brain does around 9 p.m. at night. I started to sow the Drago trees once I found them in the menu. The Drago trees will be a good lumber supply for the colony. The saloon was lacking any sort of furniture, so I decided to add some stools. And that bar stools caught my eye, so I changed to those. I laid down the blueprints for them and waited for them to be built. We were mining much more steel to make up for the lack of lumber. Good thing that we won't have to do this for long once the Drago trees are fully grown. And then Stone built a masterwork of a bar stool, which is one of the best ranks for any sort of build or craft. I decided to harvest some berry bushes and more agave for extra food. And then I actually caught footage of the raid, and as we can see, this is a pretty big raid, and this is actually not the raid I caught footage of, believe it or not. I already did that. This is another raid I got, which was twice as dangerous. And much more of my people were injured. I decided to capture much more of them, and I had even more weapons I could loot off of them. Because I was not researching machining or gunsmithing yet. For some reason, they didn't even build the passive coolers yet because we're running low. There was then a blight on the rice plants, so I obviously had to cut them down before they spread it to any other flora that I was growing. This was unfortunate, but we can always just grow it again. I sent Eric and Richmond out to cut it at the crack of dawn. They kept running away for some reason every time they cut one rice plant. It was pretty annoying, but I had to keep doing it. But then Val became pregnant. So hopefully we can have a baby in the colony soon as an extra colonist. There was then a lion hunting Eric, so we had to take it out. But for some reason then there was a crocodile trying to hunt down an angel moth. And then the angel moth passed away, and that was a cool angel moth, so we decided to take out the crocodile as well for 2 meals. We're not going to eat the angel moth because eating insect meat is disgusting. Well, at least in this game, and my colonists don't really like it. Eating the meat of giant bugs does not seem appetizing. Especially when they have a wingspan of about 10 feet. I decided to build a little bit of a tailoring bench. Just a wooden handmade hand tailor bench, nothing electric. I should really stop using lumber to build all of my stuff because as we're running out of it and our trees aren't grown yet, so I had no idea why I did that. I had Duran change his style a little bit. So this is me in the style menu, changing how he looks. He's doing that to look nice for the next public execution on a prisoner. I thought the prison was getting way too crowded. And then Kelsey had a crisis of belief from a poor mood. I mean, it's better than some other possible mental breaks. They all go to bed that night. And then the transition slide, and Lynx is now being converted because of her having a crisis of belief. I decided to try building a windmill to make up for the lack of power, or because we were going to go through a famine if we did not do this. The lack of wood wouldn't make the stove work, so I decided to make it electric and use a windmill to power it. I decided to harvest basically the last of the trees while a rainy thunderstorm happened. I guess it's foreshadowing of the famine. The windmill wasn't very good, but it was able to power it for at least a little bit of time. We then host another public execution for Kelsey. I don't know why I just had a brain freeze there or whatever. Hopefully I haven't been doing that this whole time. And then we needed a little bit of a role change, so we decided to get a moral guide who would be Eric. Eric was quite fit for the job, so I thought this would be absolutely perfect. I knew we should have done it with a little bit more of a developed colony, but I do not care about the elite expectations of someone who's a moral guide or let alone a leader. They're colonists, just like everyone else. And I do not have the time to make just everything golden in their room. Eric decided to give a great speech while all the moral guide ceremony was taking place. And then lots of our food was rotting away in the storage. And then that's when a pigskin fell from the sky. A pigskin is a gene line that is a xenotype that looks like, well, a pig. Which for Wild West theme it's kind of fitting. He was from an enemy settlement, so we decided to put him in the prison to hopefully recruit later. Just like what we did with Duran. Hoping to convert, then recruit him though. And then that's when a cheetah decided to start hunting again. Tried hunting Richmond, then tried hunting Eric. What on earth is Richmond's unluckiness with large wild animals? I then built a biofuel refinery, took down the windmill, and then made a chem fuel generator to power the fueled stove. I was just done with the windmill because it wasn't working, and plus we were running low on wood, so I had to discard it. And finally, the famine is over, and we could finally start making pumpkin again. And we decided to celebrate with another public execution. What is wrong with us? And then we got through a little bit of a coyote fight after a pack of wild and mad coyotes decided to head into the colony and try killing us. They honestly did a better job than I would have expected for just a bunch of simple-minded coyotes. But our colonists luckily survived with, it's still 2 whole injuries. I decided to use some of the leftover agave for chem fuel, so we could actually use the generator, working in almost a circle. There was another coyote out there giving me a deadly reminder of what just happened. Hey guys, first video. Yeah, fun. Alright, see ya.